You never know how you're going to be introduced, and vocal is never a word that's been used in connection with me. Good afternoon and welcome to Shore Terrace. For those who don't know me, as I said, I'm Lynne Short and convener of the Dundee City Council's City Development Committee. That means I'm the politician that helps set the strategic development for economic development, planning, roads, and perhaps most relevant to what we're talking about today, the transport in the city. I'm also one of the people charged with the responsibility of helping make Dundee an energy efficient, cleaner and greener place to work, live, do business and enjoy your leisure and pleasure time. But not only is it my responsibility, but it's one of my passions, along with the city and of course the people within the city. I do recognise a few people today and you are all my passion, even the ones that reminded me that it was my 49th birthday and not my 48th as I ran into the sunshine on Sunday. You know who you are. It won't have escaped your attention, but when you see Dundee City Council's logo, the next thing you see is a strapline, and that strapline says changing for the future. And as we're discussing transport, I can throw in, I do constantly ask, are we nearly there yet? But apparently we're not. What we're actually doing is we're on a continuous journey. Again, it's transport, I can get away with it. But what we're doing is we are changing for the future, and it is a continuous move, and we're actually seeing the changes and we're actually meaning the changes. We're not just talking about the commitment, we're actually making the commitment happen, and anybody who's had a look around the city recently can see that. Since the Changing for the Future was introduced, there have been huge, massive changes, as most of you will know. In 1998, the Dundee Partnership started work on what is known as the Master Plan to reinvigorate the city centre waterfront and bring it back in line with the city. I don't remember those days, but in days gone by, you could have stood here and the water would have lapped up just to the shoreline and the buildings across the way, and Exchange Street all date back to the days when it was the harbour and trading and things were around in this area. I don't know, I think some people may have thought that we were actually opening up the water and bringing that in again, but obviously it's not. It's about taking the city back down to the water with us, which is one of the things that obviously that we're looking to do now. After major consultation exercise in 2001, by the way, in 2001, I was working in mainland Europe, so I'm not responsible for Site 6, just in case anybody asks. It was all decided way back in 2001, so if you were here then, yes, it was all started then. We fast forward to now, and as well as demolishing some of the buildings that were here before, those of us who are from Dundee will quite quickly recognise the name Fawlty Towers. And I think that's one that we could quite easily consign to the past. We can see already though what's coming. We've got Slessor Gardens, we've got Discovery Walk, and we've got this amazing space outside the window. In the next few weeks we're going to have the railway station, and the railway station looks like it's just been coming to fruition in the last couple of years, but from my previous role working with the chart surveyors, I can tell you that that has been a very long process, and it's great to see it actually coming to fruition now. There's also obviously a hotel, residential, you name it, there's lots going on in the near future, and we're only halfway through, which is a really important part as well. So telling the story of what's going on and what the buzz is about, it has been happening for a long time, and I'm really lucky to be involved in it just now. And the good thing is that success breeds success, and it's not actually down to luck, but it's due to a lot of hard work, good judgment and passion, and a lot of that you will see if you look around this room, because as well as those of you who have helped me pile over the pounds since 2001, there's also those of you who have worked within the council and been through this step, every step of the way, and what you've done has been amazing, and I'm sure those of us who are citizens and want to work and live in the city would take our hats off to you, all the effort you put into that. Dundee is now seen by blue chip companies and global brands as a place to do business. But please don't take my word for it, just look around and see the evidence. I came back to Dundee in 2002, so I'll just use that as my date to go back to. In 2002, the Malmaison was probably the hospital, because the Malmaison was a really very sick building. If you can remember, those of you who were in the room yesterday at Mike Galloway's presentation, and he showed us the Tea Hotel, it really was an awful sad looking building, and obviously an amazing place to go these days. We also didn't have a Holiday Inn, an Apex, a Hampton, Starbucks. I'm not going to say any of the people that are in the room, because there's too many of you to mention, but you all know who you are. So there's lots of changes in the city, and many of you have contributed to that. There was no major house builders in the city, but now there's lots going on. Whitfield, which was where I started my life in the city, is completely changed. I lived in Quarryfield Court. There's not one single multi-storey out there anymore, and you're more likely to find an Audi in a driveway than a Tonka truck, as it was back in my day. But what we are also finding, that we also have within the city biotechnology, medical centres, computer games, media, culture. It's all happening now, and it means jobs for the people in the city, hopefully a lot more money in our pockets, and more of a buzz. It's quite palpable. Every time you hear of somebody come into the city, they will say to you, what's going on with the buzz? And it's not just the sunshine, so it's great to hear. There's another reason to do business in Dundee, and that reason is becoming increasingly important to investors and big brands. And the reason that Dundee is slightly ahead is because of our environmental credentials. Yes, like any other major city on the planet, we have our air quality issues, but what sets us apart is our response to it, and the changes that we have made and will continue to make are massive. It's a quiet revolution. Well, it wasn't until I turned up 2 years ago, Gary, but one that is certainly making waves. Dundee City Council now has the largest fleet of electric vehicles of any local authority in the UK. I'm not going to name the number, because I'm pretty sure we've bought a few more along the way. So it was 83 when this was written. We are a past winner of Green Fleet magazine's Public Sector Fleet of the Year and Low Carbon Vehicle Operator of the Year. The city around you has the most extensive charging infrastructure in the UK, with one of the rapid chargers officially being the most used in Scotland. It's also worth noting that the second most used in Scotland, and the third, and the fifth, and right up to the 10th is also here in Dundee. And of course, with the opening of the hub in Lochee, I don't think anybody else will have a look in. Within the first week, they'd had 85 different cars have more than 500 hours worth of charging just in the Lochee one alone. Excuse me. We own more than 60 chargers at 9 publicly available locations, including the rapid charger that we have. And those of you who are familiar with the entrance from Princes Street, you'll know that there's been a lot of work going on there, and that one is again going to be a game changer. It's going to be the first in the British Isles where we'll have a sustainable hub because of the PVUs. Yeah, the PVUs. So again, a game changer. Also in construction is an 85% ground sourced heat pump with storage facility at one of the city parks. You'll know that we have a regional sports centre that is being created out at Kerr Park at the moment, and I just learned from one of the engineers the other day that I think there's now 120 boreholes have gone down, so that we can take advantage of that. Plans are in place to consider another 8 or 9 locations for delivery in conjunction with ongoing neighbourhood regeneration projects. We are also investigating the availability of fuel cell technology, as well as more EV infrastructure, which will ensure hydrogen provision can also be made available. Along with support from partners across the city, we are developing an integrated energy strategy that looks across the whole energy spectrum to identify and deliver a holistic solution rather than just a single source of technology. Small and micro neighbourhood scale generation plants could be developed around the city to eventually create one huge connected network solution. Currently, the evolving strategy envisages 25 such locations using a mixed fuel of sources, always recognising that fossil is not sustainable in anything other than the short term. As well as a mix of end users, including domestic and business, such as the solution also complements a mix of uses and outcomes for heat, power, transport, fuel, and health poverty, and of course CO2 reduction. Also helps with some of the social problems that we have in the city as well, if we can provide cheaper heating opportunities for our citizens. Taken together, all of this will blow our air quality targets away and make sure we are one of the cleanest, greenest, and just plain nicest places to be in the UK. In fact, what I like to tag the 26 square miles of perfection. Sustainable transport plays a major part in the changing for the future that we have on offer. It offers jobs, investment, and the opportunity to tell a world-class story. And believe me, I recently was in Denmark and I was on a world-class stage, and they were delighted and excited to hear about what was happening in Dundee. So we are really on the world stage with this. We have partnered successfully with the 3 major bus companies in Dundee and surrounding area to help investigate low energy alternatives to single fuel carbon emitting engines, and now hybrids are a common sight in the city. Explore Dundee, who are with us today, have just announced a £4 million investment in 40 new low emission smart hybrid buses, which will hit the city streets in the autumn. And just last week they announced that they're working on a Dundee 360. Now again, those of us who have been around for long enough will know that the 1B has been running for about 100 years as the 1B, and there's been nothing recently that has kind of come onto the scene. But the 360 is about connecting the Waterfront with the museum and the Rep and all the other different places that people will hopefully want to see within the city. And their plan is, and they're working with colleagues in city development to give us, hopefully through time, an electric option when it comes to the Dundee 360. So hopefully everybody will pick up on that one and make use of it. As well as that, any participating route on the ABC or any bus company journey means that there's less waiting time, fewer vehicle changes, and easier access to all parts of the city, thus helping people to move away from their old habits. Again, purely from a listening point of view, I found as a councillor that there were gaps within the network when it came to buses, and we've worked quite well with the council and the bus companies, and we now have what's known as the Blether bus, and that's connecting people with the network, and that's us working together to make sure that the buses are working for everybody in the city. For active travel to work best, it needs infrastructure, and we spend time and money creating cycle and pathways in and around the city. The 26 green circular route does what it says in the tin and guides those on 2 wheels and 2 legs around the city's leafy periphery, whilst also taking commuters into the heart of the action. It's very important to stress that active travel isn't just about leisure and pleasure, it's also about getting people to where they need to be when it comes to actually arriving at work, etc. Because I think there is a mode of feeling across the city that as a city council we're promoting it for the health benefits, but it's also about actually that modal change as well. Positive planning decisions promote active land use and prioritise pedestrians, cyclists and electric vehicles. What we did recently is those who have electric vehicles can use the full multi-storey car parks for free if they register with the council, and that's actually encouraging people to come into Dundee instead of going shopping in Perth. Register at Dundee and you come and you spend all your money in Dundee. So that is making a difference to the local economy with having these kinds of incentives. And of course at the moment the electricity is still free to use, and the Energy Savings Trust have also very kindly said, because we're so far ahead with our electric vehicle structures and infrastructure in Dundee, if you want to take advantage of the interest-free loans that they have available, if you live in Dundee, they will allow you to get that funding without having to have a driveway. Normally across the rest of Scotland you need a driveway so that you have your own individual charger, but in Dundee, as everybody will know, we're special. Sorry, get carried away sometimes. So where are we? As well as some of the stuff that we're doing in the council, within the council, we're also working with Paul, and recently we put through what is known as the Mobility Innovation Living Laboratory. And what it does is it looks for new products, services and business models that can be developed and trialled across Dundee as a test bed. Recently it went out to tender, and I think there was about 25 tenders came back, and we're just working our way through then to find out what we can have on our streets. It can be anything from autonomous buses through to smart ways to find a parking space in the city centre. They've not given us woolies on our shoes or anything yet, but we are moving forward, still looking for that hoverboard. Basically all this hopefully will set the scene of what we're going to have today. I've been rattling on for a long time. I can see everybody glazing over, so let's get to some of the action. I'll pass you back to Paul, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.